Dave Sanderson, you were the last passenger off of U.S. Air Flight 1549 in January of 2009, and ahead of the movie Sully being released on September 9th here in 2016, I wonder what it'll be like for you to actually sit in a dark theater and relive what happened to you 7 years ago.
Well, Trip, I think it's going to be very emotional for me. I've seen some of the trailers and I've seen some of the other trailers that people haven't seen, and I've actually got pretty emotional over a couple of things that I've seen so far. But so I think being in the theater with other people and watching it and knowing what really happened and seeing how they depict it, especially how it is gliding the plane through New York and over the bridge, is going to be probably very emotional for me.
In the trailer, we hear Tom Hanks, who plays Captain Sullenberger, say that 208 seconds is how he'll be judged. What is your recollection of those 208 seconds here 7 years later?
Well, that 208 seconds actually felt like a lifetime to me. I think once he said brace for impact is when I think that countdown started. So for me, it was like having my entire life sort of revisit me. I saw things in my life that I hadn't seen for many, many years. And I tell people it's amazing the clarity you have when you think this is your final moments in your life, and all of a sudden things come to you that you never thought. And my life's purpose was opened up to me at that moment in time. So I think for him, he probably had a similar situation. He had to focus stringently on the outcome. But I think for that 208 seconds, everything he learned, everything he trained for came into play. And I think that's what people are going to take away from. And then the other side is what really happened afterwards to all of us.
Dave, you had mentioned to me, we've had lunch several times since then, and you've mentioned to me the one thing that you thought was most important is the plane was ditching in the water, how you took your wallet and you placed it somewhere. Can you tell everybody that little element of the whole experience?
So when he said brace for impact, I knew at that point the situation could be pretty dire. So I took my wallet out of my briefcase, which was underneath the seat, and shoved it down into my pants, because the one thing I wanted more than anything else is at least they could identify my body. What I've seen before in other situations where people can identify people. And in case there was a fire, well, in case I didn't make it, at least they could claim my body because I had something on me. And that's one thing I tell people. It's one of those learning experiences after speaking to first responders, that the first thing they look for is identification. So that was one thing that I did, and to this day still, I think it's one of the smartest things that I did on that plane that day.
You had to jump from the wing into the water, and then from the water, you were taken up to the dock, from the dock to the hospital, and within a couple of days, back in Charlotte. Once the plane hit, once you started your recovery efforts, was that all smooth? Red Cross was there, I would imagine.
Once we got to shore, the Red Cross was there along with two EMTs, and that's why I speak so passionately for the American Red Cross and help them raise money, because they were there on both the New York and New Jersey side within 10 minutes of this plane crash, serving people. So yes, they helped carry me to the triage center, and triage centers when they found out that I had hypothermia. So it's that's why it took me to the hospital, and that's why I stayed the night at Palisades Medical Center. And fortunately for me, the next day I got to go home and see my family. But I tell folks, I don't think if you've never been in 36-degree water for an extended amount of time, you can't understand how cold and what it really does to the body. And it takes the energy out. It's sort of like I equate it to a firefighter who may be, after they go into the fire, come out of the fire, they're sitting on the edge of there, and they have nothing left. All the adrenaline's out of you, and I think that's what sort of happened to me, and probably happened to a few other people that day. So I speak passionately for the Red Cross because, as we know now, with the floods going on in Louisiana and other things that they have to respond to, they need those kind of funds to be able to help other people. And my goal in my book, Moments Matter, is I donate a portion of the proceeds so people who are suffering can also have the opportunity that I had.
Dave, we'll go over 4 minutes real quickly. How can people get in
Yeah.
touch with you these days?
Well, the best way to get in touch with me, if you go on my website, Dave Sanderson Speaks, and just message me there, and I respond personally to everyone. I have no filters whatsoever. But if you want to find out what's going on and where I'll be, is Facebook at Dave Sanderson Speaks, and Twitter. I give those nice little things I come up during the week about the movie and the book and my travels. But LinkedIn under David Sanderson is also a really good way to get in touch with me, especially because I talk about the business lessons from that day on LinkedIn. So I have three different sort of ways to do that, and I'd be honored if anybody wants to reach out. And my book is called Moments Matter. And it's about all the, not only that happened to me that day trip, but also the 12 lessons that I identified that I learned and the resources that I used to be able to survive. And it also not only translates to survival, but also translates to business. Those people who are entrepreneurs who are going through challenging situations.
Well, Dave, I appreciate you taking an extended 2 minutes with 2D today, and good luck in the movie theater. And we all hope the best for you as well. Thanks for all that you do.
Thank you, Trip. Thank you for having me.